Donc, bonsoir tout le monde. Donc, ce soir, nous avons deux séances du conseil. Donc, la première qui est une séance extraordinaire pour l'adoption du programme quinquennal d'immobilisation, une partie de notre budget. Et ensuite, nous allons fermer cette séance pour en ouvrir une seconde qui est la séance ordinaire du mois de décembre. So tonight we have two meetings. The first one is on budget for five-year capital expenses program, and after that, it's the ordinary session of council. Donc, Madame la DG, est-ce qu'il y a des questions?
Non, c'est bien.
Non, parfait. D'accord, merci. Donc, adoption de l'ordre du jour proposé par Dominique Lebris, appuyé par Cybelle Wilson. Donc, en faveur? À l'unanimité. Donc, au niveau de l'approbation du plan quinquennal d'immobilisation, nous avons nous avons fait une présentation qui est sur le grand tableau, là. Là, juste pas trop vite, parce que là, j'ai mes lunettes, mais c'est quand même... c'est ça, parfait, merci.
Sauf que vous pouvez.
Ouais, non, ok, mais on peut le tourner pour... Je vais suivre mes notes ici, là. Parfait. Does everyone see? Est-ce que c'est trop volumineux pour ouvrir avec mon ordinateur? Mais est-ce que non, c'est bon, j'ai deux ordinateurs, c'est pour ça que j'ai ça là, mais c'est parce que là, les élus ne le voient pas, et les élus n'ont pas eu de document non plus. Donc, ça serait bien que les élus puissent voir ça. Merci.
C'est bon. Merci, oui.
You can also go and sit on the other side to have a better view if there's still room in the attendance. OK, donc plan quinquennal d'immobilisation 25-29. Donc, ceci s'insère dans notre plan stratégique avec la vision 2040. Donc, le conseil municipal adopte un plan quinquennal d'immobilisation pour les 5 prochaines années, plutôt qu'un plan triennal. Donc, dans le passé, nous avions un plan de 3 ans, et là, maintenant, nous passons à un plan de 5 ans. So, we are moving with our strategic plan from a 3-year plan to a 5-year plan. So, this helps us to plan ahead and also to have a better provision in our planning. Donc, les chiffres sont trop petits, puis mon ordinateur ne collabore pas, donc on va y aller avec le tableau. Merci. Donc, on peut changer. C'est correct? L'autre page. Parfait. Donc, avec la vision, avec la mission et aussi avec nos valeurs, donc en poursuivant ces efforts en lien avec la planification stratégique, la municipalité oriente les décisions et les actions de l'organisation municipale et du conseil municipal. Parfait. Donc, c'est ça, nous allons adopter le PQI, dans le fond, en fonction des piliers stratégiques. Et c'est avec la vision dans laquelle ce budget, dans le fond, d'investissement a été planifié. Donc, au niveau des faits saillants, il y aura cette année, en 2025, 12,9 millions pour des usines de travaux, pour les usines des eaux usées de nos deux secteurs et aussi l'usine d'eau potable. Il y a aussi 1,2 million pour achat d'équipements divers, dont, entre autres, pour la sécurité publique et aussi des véhicules et de la machinerie pour nos départements de travaux publics et services d'incendie. Il y a aussi un 200 000 $ pour la création d'accès communautaire à la rivière, lequel on avait déjà discuté et là maintenant c'est officiel avec une provision au budget pour le secteur Farm Point ainsi que le secteur Burnett. Also, we have 1.9 million for parks, trail, and also green spaces throughout the municipality. And then we have $3.6 million for the road infrastructure and also safety element. And so that covers the big element on our investment budget. And also some of those projects in the expenses are conditional to receiving grants. So we will apply for grants, and so those are the costs that are budgeted but can be reduced by receiving grants. Donc les principaux projets de 2025, donc un investissement massif de 12,9 millions pour nos usines, mais il y a un montant cette année qui est prévu de 754 000 $ pour les services professionnels liés à l'agrandissement de l'usine des eaux usées, ainsi que 11,6 millions pour permettre, dans le fond, d'optimiser l'usine des traitements des eaux usées afin de déshydrater les boues et d'être capable là, de réduire le nombre de GES avec les camions qui doivent circuler pour aller vider ces camions-là. Et aussi au niveau de l'usine d'eau potable, un montant de 546 000 est prévu en 2025 pour les services professionnels liés au projet d'agrandissement de l'usine d'eau potable. Et encore là aussi, ces projets sont liés là, à l'obtention de subventions. Et aussi au bas, on voit qu'au niveau des piliers stratégiques qui correspondent à ces investissements, c'est nature, environnement ainsi que opérations et services responsables pour notre population. Et ça, ce qui est important, the important thing about those is to be able to provide safe water and also safe exit from the plant into the river. So those are very important things for the environment. Principaux projets au niveau des véhicules, équipements, sécurité publique. Donc, 1.2 million is there to renew some equipment that are essential for the maintenance of our infrastructure and also the safety of our citizens and employees. And like safety for employees, we are talking about bunker suit for the fire department. So those are essentials items that we need to provide. And also, donc l'achat et le remplacement d'équipements divers pour $1 million. Et aussi, certains ces équipements-là ne sont pas nécessairement certains équipements pour réduire la charge fiscale. Nous sommes en location et d'autres en acquisition. Donc, l'analyse est faite pour vraiment optimiser les investissements et les dépenses de la municipalité. Et aussi, also, the installation of a generator at the Meredith Center. So this year, right now, it's one is being installed at the town hall between the fire hall and the municipal building. And a second one is planned at the Meredith Center. Since we received in the past 3 years, three events that we had to open the center for emergency measures. So Meredith Center is an important area. So this year is going to be all the professional work to be able to plan the best solution possible. And next year it's going to be the installation of the generator. So this year it's the planning and all the professional advice and planning. So in next year, it's going to be we will buy the generator. And then access to the river. Donc, un investissement de 200 000 l'aménagement de différents accès communautaires à la rivière Gatineau. Donc, le secteur Farm Point ainsi que Burnett sont réservés dans le fond pour la phase 1. Et il y aura aussi dans le PQI pour les années subséquentes d'autres investissements aussi afin de créer d'autres lieux le long de la rivière. Mais cette année, en 2025, nous débutons avec un espace à Farm Point, améliorer le stationnement aussi. Il y a le chalet de service là, pour que les gens aillent se changer. Donc, il y a plusieurs petits investissements qui se font comme ça. Puis, ainsi que un petit accès à Burnett pour juste les embarcations non motorisées. So, more phases are planned from 226 to 229. Parc sentier et espace vert. So, donc, au niveau des parcs, il y a une phase 1 pour un futur parc destiné pour les adolescents. So, a park for teenagers. So, phase 1. And that's conditional to receiving a grant. And also some trails. So, trails west of Highway 5, close to Chemin de la Mine. And the first phase was done this year, so there are additional phases that are planned for 25 and 26. And also a trail that connects the résidence du Petit Bois in Farm Point to the Voie Verte through the wood. So, those are two trails that are important. There will be also some minor trail network work, but these are the two main investment for the trails in 2025. And also various things around the Voie Verte. So signage, boulders, and also the old train station that will go back along the trail, and also the tugboat that was at Chelsea Elementary that will go in Farm Point along the trail. Donc ça, c'est deux projets aussi qui sont en lien avec le 150e de Chelsea. Infrastructure routière et sécurité. Donc, des investissements de 3,6 millions de dollars sont prévus pour l'entretien de nos chemins ainsi que d'assurer la sécurité. Donc, l'achat et implantation d'éléments de modération de vitesse au montant de 435 000 dollars. Donc, il va y avoir aussi avec ça des afficheurs de vitesse, des signaux lumineux. Il va y avoir aussi l'implantation de mesures de vitesse sur la route 105, laquelle nous avons récemment réduit la vitesse à 50 km/h, ainsi que des travaux dans le corridor scolaire de Grand-Boisé. Ces travaux-là, en plus, c'est suivant, dans le fond, le rapport de Mobio pour le plan local de déplacement. Et ensuite, réfection du chemin de la rivière. Donc, réfection du chemin de la rivière est complétée, mais il reste quand même là, des petites dépenses à faire là, pour finaliser le projet dans son ensemble. Et aussi travaux divers de stabilisation, de réaménagement et de remplacement de ponceaux. Donc, avec l'adaptation au changement climatique, on se doit aussi des fois de surdimensionner des ponceaux ou d'améliorer des ponceaux qui ont été endommagés. Nous avons eu un rapport récemment de la MRC sur l'ensemble de nos routes et aussi de nos ponceaux. Puis, en priorité avec l'étude qui a été faite de façon scientifique, il y aura des investissements qui seront faits en 2025 et des années subséquentes pour venir, dans le fond, remettre aux normes certaines de nos infrastructures qui ont été lourdement endommagées. Et aussi, en parlant d'infrastructures lourdement endommagées, on parle du chemin Kelly dans le secteur Hollow Glen, qui est aussi en planification pour une réfection. Une chose avec le chemin Kelly, c'est qu'un côté du chemin, c'est Chelsea, de l'autre côté de la ligne jaune, c'est Gatineau. Donc, on se doit de travailler de concert avec la ville de Gatineau pour faire la réfection du chemin. Because Kelly Road is cut in half. So one side of the road is Chelsea and one side of the road is Gatineau. So our engineer, chief of the Department of Public Work, is working with the city of Gatineau to come to an agreement for doing the work, the road work repair in 2025. Puis aussi le début du projet de réfection du chemin Notch. Dans le fond, ce projet-là va s'étendre sur 4 ans. Nous avons déjà eu des discussions avec la CCN à cet égard, afin d'essayer de les impliquer aussi dans le processus de réfection routière, puisque notre chemin est très étroit et ne permet pas la mise en place de pistes cyclables, donc parce que c'est pas chez nous. Nous, notre chemin est très, très, très étroit dans la prise que nous avons. Donc, d'essayer de collaborer avec la CCN pour essayer de voir comment on peut amener des pistes cyclables sur ce tronçon-là. Donc, il va y avoir un partage de coûts avec différentes organisations. Ceci met un terme à la présentation du PQI. So this puts an end to this PowerPoint. Puis aussi, dans le fond, c'est que le budget d'investissement quinquennal de la municipalité couvrant la période 25-29 marque une transition importante au plan triennal à un plan quinquennal. Ce changement offre une vision à plus long terme, permettant de mieux anticiper les besoins en matière d'infrastructure et de développement durable dans un contexte de changement climatique. Donc, notre municipalité a fait face au cours des 3 dernières années à plusieurs situations d'urgence qui ont mis en lumière la nécessité de renforcer la résilience de nos infrastructures. Puis nous avons la responsabilité d'investir pour mettre à niveau ces infrastructures et les rendre plus robustes face aux défis environnementaux. So, this way, the 5-year plan of 25-29 will focus on many items that are essential for our municipality. At first, so we need to modernize the infrastructures that we have to assure their durability and also their efficiency. And also we'll do some rehabilitation and maintaining work that will also bring the lifespan of those infrastructure at a longer period. And so we are also looking at how we can have our equipment last longer than the planned period, and also to optimize their work, and also optimize the way that we now do the work and plan the work. Ensuite, le PQI met aussi l'accent particulier sur des projets ayant des impacts directs sur l'environnement et la lutte contre les changements climatiques. Cela comprend des initiatives pour réduire l'empreinte carbone de la municipalité et améliorer aussi la gestion des ressources naturelles. Puis enfin, des investissements importants sont réalisés dans les infrastructures communautaires telles que la mobilité durable, visant à rendre notre municipalité aussi plus sécuritaire et accueillante. Donc, les projets de mobilité active et d'accès à la rivière seront au cœur de ces investissements afin de favoriser une meilleure qualité de vie pour tous les citoyens. Puis aussi, the long-term approach that we have to meet the community needs is to enhance the investment predictability, promote the project sustainability, and also engage the citizen and local partners in some of our projects. So the key areas of the 5-year capital plan is to maintain and modernize the existing infrastructure, project with an environmental impact in addressing climate change, and also community services with initiative in active mobility and river access. Donc, ceci met un terme là, à mon mot du maire pour tous les investissements en immobilisation qui sont ici. Donc, je vais maintenant donner la parole aux membres du conseil qui voudraient se positionner. Mais avant, c'est ça, on n'a pas fait, il est proposé par, c'est vrai. Donc, à la résolution 3, donc il est proposé par le conseiller, la conseillère, Kimberly Chan, appuyé par Sibelle Wilson. Il est résolu d'adopter le programme quinquennal d'immobilisation 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, prévoyant les dépenses d'investissement et les revenus de financement. Donc, un total en 2025 de 20 156 840. En 2026, 11 586 700. En 2027, 14 333 000. 2028, 4 660 000. Et 2029, 3 216. Puis au niveau des revenus, financement et affectation, dans le fond, on arrive au même montant. And also this is, you see, so we planned for 5 years, knowing that this year is an election year. So next council, from November to, let's say, December and January next year, can come and go in the same direction that this council is going. And, but they can also, as a new government elected, change some of these elements for the years of 26, 27, 28, and 29. But we did this with a predictability, and hopefully that predictability will stay there with next council next November. Merci. Donc, questions, commentaires? Conseiller Évry?
Donc, je voudrais dire merci au personnel. C'était un exercice difficile, surtout à Robert. C'était son premier budget à Chelsea. On s'est senti en bonne main. On s'est vraiment apprécié. J'ai bien apprécié de travailler avec toi là-dessus. Mon principal problème avec ce PQI, c'est qu'il vise à relancer rapidement la construction au centre-village. Et ça va se faire nécessairement, à mon avis, au détriment des services aux résidents. Et ça risque d'aggraver notre situation financière précaire. Malgré le passage d'un plan d'investissement de 3-5 ans, ça c'était une bonne chose, il fallait le faire, puis le vent Guénard a poussé là-dessus, c'est un bon coup. Malgré le fait qu'on planifie sur une plus longue période, jamais l'avenir budgétaire n'aura paru aussi incertain pour nous. Le PQI donne la priorité à la relance du développement au détriment des besoins des résidents. D'abord, il n'y a pas d'engagement politique garantissant que l'agrandissement des usines va se faire à coût nul pour les résidents actuels. En fait, pour moi, il est certain que les résidents actuels seront mis à contribution, car même si on réussit à développer une redevance au développement, on sait que cette redevance-là ne couvrira pas tous les frais nécessaires à la croissance, que ce soit les bibliothèques ou les espaces pour nos fonctionnaires. Ce PQI-là, on peut se demander comment on le finance. Les hypothèses, il y a des hypothèses derrière, il y a un travail de recherche qui a été fait intéressant, mais les hypothèses, pour espérer que ça soit à coût nul pour les résidents, on parle de 250 unités, là, la quatrième par année, la quatrième et la cinquième unité. Et puis, ça repose sur une croissance de nos coûts de 4 %. Et pour moi, ça m'apparaît comme aberrant parce que déjà, notre personnel a la difficulté à fournir à la demande des résidents actuels. Et simplement indexer de 4 % cette base-là, c'est de perpétuer la situation actuelle alors qu'on sait qu'il va y avoir plus de résidents, plus de besoins, tout ça. L'autre problème, c'est qu'il n'y a toujours pas de mécanisme pour phaser le développement, pour éviter que tous les projets ne débloquent en même temps et qu'on se retrouve dans la même situation qu'on a connue. Et puis finalement, avant de penser à agrandir les usines, moi je déplore qu'on a, malgré tous nos efforts, il y a de l'argent qui a été mis, il y a un véritable effort pour stabiliser les usines et améliorer leur fiabilité. Mais il y a encore du travail à faire et on est encore dans des projets de recherche, mais on n'a même pas l'ampleur des investissements qui seront nécessaires pour finir ça. Et puis, pour moi, il n'y a rien qui presse à agrandir l'usine d'eau potable. On a un certain nombre d'unités en main, on peut l'agrandir de l'intérieur, on a ce projet-là qui va être déployé. Fait qu'on a assez d'unités d'eau en main pour pouvoir satisfaire les besoins de base. Puis en plus, un plus long délai nous donnerait des chances d'obtenir des subventions ou espérer que des programmes soient mis sur pied pour compléter l'agrandissement des usines. Bref, pour moi, ce plan n'offre qu'une garantie, c'est comme toujours, chaque porte qui va s'ajouter va continuer à nous appauvrir, car les mécanismes ne sont pas en place. Il n'y a pas, un peu comme on a dit à Gatineau, il est nécessaire que la croissance paie pour la croissance. Je ne crois pas qu'on ait ce mécanisme-là en place. Un exemple, on a pour l'achat de 2 millions de terrains. C'est nécessaire, réparti sur 4 ans. Si pour moi c'est nécessaire, si on veut faire du logement social, il va falloir le faire. Mais on n'a pas de mécanisme pour s'assurer de financer ça. On pourrait faire une certaine taxe sur les permis de construction. On pourrait réserver une partie de la redevance, de sorte que pas une partie de la redevance, une partie de la taxe de bienvenue, de sorte que lorsqu'il y a une fluctuation sur les permis de construction, on peut simplement restreindre nos dépenses pour l'achat de terrains qui ne sont pas nécessairement essentiels et présents. C'est le genre de mécanisme qu'il faut mettre en place, à mon avis, puis qu'on n'a pas encore pour assurer la stabilité. Lorsque je dis que certains services, tous les efforts qu'on met sur les usines, mais c'est du temps et des sous qu'on n'a pas pour autre chose, pour régler des problèmes, que ce soit les parcs. On sait qu'il y a des besoins importants dans les parcs. Le parc central qu'on attend toujours au cœur du village, mais dans le district 1, à Hollow Glen, dans Farm Point, il y a des investissements nécessaires qui doivent être faits aussi. En conclusion, au lieu de focusser sur les besoins du développement, j'aimerais qu'on se concentre sur les besoins des résidents, les traverses pétonnières, les parcs, tout ça. C'est dans le plan triennal, le plan sur 5 ans, on pourrait les devancer et mettre nos ressources en personnel pour servir nos citoyens au lieu de penser à la construction. Donc, ça fait mon résumé de ma position là-dessus.
Merci. D'autres questions, commentaires? M. Valenté?
Moi, j'ai préparé un rediffusion. I want to thank the staff. It's a very, very difficult job going to the 5-year plan, projecting forward. Mr. Binet has been instrumental with the senior staff and DG. Everybody's worked so hard. I love the predictability of it. We can't count on everything. The vision forward is important because we need to make our decisions based on the vision that we have, like our strategic plan and so on. But I have something I need to share because I've been pushing this narrative for a while. I have some concerns and I'll share them with you. I don't feel I can support the PQE as proposed, and I'm deeply concerned about the rapidly deteriorating fiscal situation. We're in a small municipality of only 1,800 people. In short, I see that we have the highest operating budget within the MRC, or very close to it. We have a very high debt load, makes me very concerned, which, based on what we're looking at today, will double over the next 5 years. Unless I read it wrongly, and I'll invite Mr. Binet to correct me on that. We have a current accrued long-term debt of $56 million. And we'll be adding an additional 54 of debt finance for additional projects. A lot of good stuff on it, but as my wife would say, you can convince yourself of anything. So it will be more than double our borrowing again, taking us from 54 million to 110 million. So our debt servicing is now 5 million of our $26 million operating budget, which is 3 million more than the municipality of La Pêche, which has a very similar population and property value in the books of the MRC. This has taken an already very bad situation, I believe, in my humble opinion, making it much worse for us. Our constituents expect more from us. I hear it all the time. We represent the residents, so we need to get that ear to the ground. They expect responsible fiscal management. They expect that we will manage their money carefully and thoughtfully. We have been doing so. But there's a situation that we were made aware of publicly by the former mayor of Gatineau 2 years ago, when he put out a book saying, "Libérer les villes," liberate the municipalities, because we're at a fiscal dead end. We can't keep turning this wheel because, as my colleague pointed out earlier, I like that phrase, that you need to fund growth with the growth and not be stuck always behind the curve. Embarking on costly projects to increase infrastructure that will fuel more development and make serious congestion problems worse and increase the demand for services that already have great difficulty, that we have already great difficulty in meeting. Our commitment to a new school, for example, requires a high investment for land acquisition and its support to us. So, we estimated at around 4.5 million, and then just hand it over to the school department. That's we need the school, we want the school, so we'll make that sacrifice. But among the items I would cut, and they're all good, but when you manage your house, you gotta be able to afford it. I would cut that represent $3.75 million, just as an example. We're looking to fund for $440,000 a community gathering place. I say we can work closer with the Chelsea Foundation that already has the place where we all meet anyway. The land for the new library, $2 million. A park for adolescents, $660,000. A new ladder truck, which is very important, but do we have to do it now? It's $650,000. So this, and I hate to use the word, reckless borrowing for large projects that will make a bad fiscal situation much worse by increasing taxes, reducing quality of life, are also making us unable to do the simple things that our residents have asked us and expect. For example, putting a priority on completing our active transportation infrastructure and creating completely safe corridors for our Chelsea residents, both in the south and the west, are important. It's been on our priority list in a formal master plan for our active transportation. The former councils voted that in 2014. It was revised and brought up to date in 2021, just 2 months before we got elected and sworn in. Those are priorities that we haven't met yet. In my ward, Ward 1, don't ask for much. A small investment would complete the short southern Boisvert, our favorite trail, and provide a link to Gap. People like to bike to work and so on, so kids go to school. We need to make it safe, and it is doable. Our official municipal consultations show that a vast majority of residents in my ward and throughout Chelsea want this to happen. We have it in the books, as I said, since 2021, but we're not moving on it because we don't have the money. We're spending millions on other things that will not respond to what people have identified as a priority. And we're working on dedicated, and working with our dedicated community partners, for which we're very well known here in Chelsea. We can deliver these at much lower cost. We have shown that in the past. We are, as municipalities, as I said, at a fiscal dead end. And this will only get worse. The economy, you can feel it throughout the economy. So I believe the time for change is abundantly clear. I heard someone wiser than me say business as usual is simply stated no longer good enough. We have to make those special efforts, become more innovative, more creative. We can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results, as we all know. So this is the definition of insanity. And I know we're not insane, neither are our residents. So it's time to step back and do things differently. Be responsible, innovative in our approaches, and value-added options that help pay for these things are to be considered, and they're out there. This new fiscal reality requires that we, as a council, rethink the ways we manage and do things with public funds, in my humble opinion. And the solution, I believe, lies in active, dynamic community partnerships, because most of what has been accomplished in our community in active transportation, recreation, infrastructure, environmental protection, and conservation over the last 3 decades that I've lived in Chelsea has been done so with those dynamic community partners and with few resources. So that there may be something there for us to really look at. So we have to learn from our community partners and become very creative and find innovative solutions with them to our most pressing needs that don't need to be expensive when we come together to fix them. Thank you.
D'autres questions, commentaires? Conseillère Jane, vous avez votre feuille de prêt.
Okay. Yes, so I also want to thank staff. I know it's been quite a struggle. I was away for a while, but I know they've been working really hard on this. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to vote against this PTA as well. I feel like this plan brings more insecurity than reassurance. And the reason is that, well, I mean, I'm not going to repeat everything that the councillors before me said, but it is really about the debt load and focusing on expansion while we haven't really had a chance to take a breath after the current expansion. Yeah, so the debt is crushing us. We have residents that are going to have trouble paying for, well, they're not going to be able to afford to live in their current houses with our tax rising, the increased debts, the utility costs that are going to go up. So it is scary for a lot of people. And so the question is, why focus on this expansion? What is the reason for this? I know that there is kind of a feeling that it will bring in income, but it also comes with expenses. And you know, we have to expand our fleet. We have to grow staff. We have to, you know, take up more space in our city hall. It comes with expenses. So I'm very worried about this, you know, this plan to expand it within like 2 years. I feel like we could wait a bit and catch our breath. Also, this expansion of the treatment plants, I find it. I just, my little environmental speech. I still find it worrisome that that nobody's focusing on the way that we're polluting the Gatineau River. And even with the expansion, I haven't heard of anyone talking about how we're going to optimize those to protect our river. So I've heard from, like, since the beginning of the mandate, I've heard from most of the residents that I've talked to that we need to slow down development. Also, these plants right now only, service a small percentage of our population. We have services for the rest of the population that seem to be suffering with all this haste of expansion. So, there's plenty of examples I could give of things that we could focus on. We just don't seem to have time to just focus on our the safety of our in my district, there's a fair amount of things like we have an unwalkable urban perimeter. Our parks need help. Our community center needs help. It's all things that seem to be, delayed. So Councillor Valiente mentioned a few things that we could cut. I agree with those. Even putting aside money for new properties. We just bought 2 properties and we kind of don't have a plan for them. So I would rather have a strategy first before we start borrowing money to buy properties. So this is a vote. Again, I want to thank staff, and this is also a vote for you because I understand how basically our staff is working like crazy. We need to take just a pause so that we can work with calm and vision. Mon vote est plutôt stratégique pour ralentir le taux de développement.
Merci. Question commentaire?
So I'm not surprised, unfortunately, and I'm not going to sit here and thank you and then insult you for all the work and all the expertise you've given us, because we've been working on this meeting after meeting after meeting. We know it's an election year. We know the big item that was going to be politicized was development. We knew these statements were coming, but we didn't because they weren't shared with us in any of the working meetings. They weren't shared with you, as I can see on your faces that you're surprised that you sit here after all these hours you put in, all these compliments that you got, that all of a sudden you don't know what you're doing. You've been, I'll read a few of the words and sorry to repeat them, but it's deplorable, it's abhorrent. You've created a rapidly deteriorating fiscal situation. There's been recklessness. It's a definition of insanity. You've been bringing more insecurity. Well, I don't feel that way. I feel you've done your jobs. I feel that some of us have been very transparent and forthcoming in what we want to see in the PQI. We've worked with you. We've got expert opinion. We've had, we've taken the studies done, the research done, incorporated, taken your expert opinions, taken the Director of Public Works. What other directors do we have? Director of Recreation, Director of Environment, Fire Chief. We've taken all of the recommendations on board over the last few months, which I don't know, we have hundreds of documents of briefing notes that outline specifically what the projects bring and how they're meeting the strategic objectives in our strategic plan. So as said, just to repeat, I thank you for your work, I value your work, and I'm not sitting here two-faced to say that you've worked hard, but then really shoot down everything that's been done and all the experience or all the expertise you've given us. I've tried to attend every meeting. I've asked all my questions. I've dug into what's been proposed. There are certain elements I don't agree with in the PQI, but overall, I'm satisfied, and I think it's setting the municipality on the right path. Again, an election year, it was expected that we would politicize this evening. I didn't want to come, I'm going to be really honest. I thought this was going to be a professional meeting, and instead we're now turning it into a working meeting. So obviously we shouldn't adopt the PQI, and we should sit here and go through line by line and see what should be cut and what should be changed, because all the meetings that led up to tonight weren't enough for us to share and be transparent, as everyone's always saying. Last year I made a big speech. I'm really heartfelt the day or the evening before the PQI to ask that everyone on this council, although we have different opinions, and maybe different objectives that we work together for the community to come together to agree. This year I didn't do it. It's not my responsibility, but I asked all the questions and I really worked with the staff and with the rest of council to the best of my ability to see the document that is before us now. These numbers on the debt and this deteriorating fiscal situation and all this has been explained to us on multiple occasions by our Director of Finance, who is, by the way, fantastic, to debunk all these myths and all this fear-mongering. I'm hearing Trumpisms tonight. I don't really understand. Be more innovative, be more creative. The staff has done nothing but we've cut and cut and cut and cut. And now we're here, find creative solutions to work with community partners, to build roads, to purchase fire equipment, to build des ponceaux, to work with community partners. These are not the things we work with community partners with. In terms of active transportation, which is a huge file and a priority of mine since I've been here, there's 800,000 for the VBC. There's 1.2 million for other trails. I think there's 30,000 set aside to connect the new La Résidence Pic-Bois to the BBC. So I think in total, there's just over $2 million for active mobility. Community gathering place, I also had questions about it. It's conditional on receiving a grant, so it won't be built unless there is a grant for that space. In 2029, the $660K for the teen space. I was also surprised to see that in there. We do need space for our teenagers, so everything is a compromise, so I'm happy to move forward. The ladder truck was explained to us on multiple occasions. We see the development here going up to a certain number of stories. A ladder truck is necessary to keep the residents safe should there be a fire. Phased development. The development has always been phased. It's been explained on numerous occasions. The way the water treatment plant was conceived when it was first purchased and kind of designed for the municipality of Chelsea was in 3 phases. The first phase was built. The second phase was always to come, and then addition as needed. With the pandemic, as was explained, development went a lot faster than even the developers or the staff had foreseen. This was a once-in-a-century event. So now there's been a moratorium put to ensure that we keep the services for the residents, that we keep units for any essential services like bringing in a medical clinic, like for all the new daycares for the school. So the municipality has done the responsible thing of putting aside units for new essential services, maintaining the service for people that are already hooked up to the water and sewage treatment plants, and then planning for the future. We have 2 years now where nothing will be built, and this will give planners time to develop their projects. Nothing for the staff is something else I heard. There's $250,000 for the city hall to make sure that on aménage des nouveaux bureaux pour le staff. Donc there's $250,000 in the plan for staff. We've asked staff on multiple occasions if more money should be put in. We want to retain staff. We want to make sure they have healthy workspaces and that they're in an environment that really is suitable for them. They said that $250K was what they were looking for. It's been put in. Every door will impoverish us. I mean, again, this is like fear-mongering from I don't know what years. We have plans in place and already here we've come with there are certain tools at the disposal of the municipality that can be used to go get additional funds. There's already ones that have been put in place, and I know with the Director of Finance, we've been looking at So that tool is coming too, so that the development pays for itself. So those are diversification. So again, there's other things that have been debunked by our experts, like development increasing congestion. There are multiple traffic studies that have been done that it is not the development that is increasing congestion, along with other sentences or other kind of statements that have been made. I think that was just my response to what I've heard. And again, I'm sorry for the staff that you're sitting here and this has happened, and we didn't manage, and I don't know how many working sessions we had to come to an agreement to sit here tonight and adopt as a council. But again, it's an election year and it's to be expected. So just a statement I wrote, I support the adoption of the quinquennial investment plan as a vital tool for ensuring more predictable and strategic public spending over the next 5 years. This long-term framework not only provides financial stability, but enables us to align municipal investments with our broader strategic objectives. With our quinquennial outlook, we can make well-informed, data-driven decisions that will benefit our community for years to come, paving the way for sustainable and impactful projects. The PQE, I guess has a different term in English, but I'll just call it the PQE, aligns with our long-term goals to renew, expand, and maintain essential infrastructure, strengthen our active mobility network, including school corridors, the studies of which were done with partners, so basically cost the municipality nothing, build climate resilience, enhance recreational spaces, and river access. A key element in forming the PQI, and this is one that is really important to me, was a recent road study that was done by SNC-Lavalin for the municipality, which uses evidence-based technical methods to prioritize road repairs based on need rather than political influence. Because roads prior to this were really politicized. It was political jockeying from district to district on which roads should be redone, and now we really have an evidence-based plan in place that has ranked all of the roads that need to be done from a priority level. So this is what you see tonight. There was no discussion on which road should be included and which shouldn't, but it's really based on the plans of which need to be done, and then what we can afford, and then what staff capacity we have. And so that's the result. And I'm really happy with that, because there are roads in many sectors, ones that I'm very aware of, that have been deteriorating for years and never fixed, because the councillor never won the debate around the table to get that road included, which shouldn't be the case. So this approach right now that's depoliticized road work ensures a more efficient use of public funds. It directly benefits residents and businesses by improving road conditions, and tonight you'll specifically see Kelly, Notch, Kingsmere, and Meech Lake roads in the PQI. The planned work on Kelly and Meech, as the mayor had mentioned, is contingent on securing funding from partners. For Kelly, it's the city of Gatineau, and for Meech, it's the NCC. So I look forward to productive collaboration with both of these partners to ensure these projects proceed as planned. I'm particularly pleased also for that funding for expediting active mobility infrastructure has been retained. These investments will help create a more connected network, providing residents with additional safe and climate-friendly alternatives to get to school, work, and essential services that will enhance the overall quality of life. The new axis for active mobility that's being built to connect Gatineau on the west side of the highway, I think we've done maybe 750 meters to date, has really appealed to the residents that are there. So I'm looking forward to seeing that completed. And just coming to the end, as costs continue to rise, as many have mentioned, and the province places additional responsibilities on municipalities without providing adequate funding, Chelsea is facing growing challenges. However, we are committed to finding creative solutions and exploring alternative revenue sources to meet these increasing costs while preserving the quality of life for our residents. So I believe that PQE, like any document, when you have 6 independent candidates sitting at the table, is never going to meet everything you'd like to see in there. And there are residents in rural areas, and you have residents in the center village, you have residents that have lived here for 30 years, you have residents that arrived here 6 months ago, you have residents that are in the younger age bracket and residents in older age brackets. It's all over the place. You need to find a balance with what you can afford and what the staff has in terms of time. And I think this does the job. Of course, I could revamp it and do it in a way that I think would be, better. But I think this responds, one, to our legal responsibilities, also faced with what the province has placed on us, to maintaining or improving the quality of life of residents, and just making sure that all voices are heard to a certain degree. I worked at the UN for many years, and after negotiations, they always said you left UN happy or unhappy. And I think that's a good motto with which to conduct negotiations when you're sitting in a political sphere. Again, I'm happy to vote against if that's what you would like. And we can go back to the drawing board, and the councils around the table that suggested they wanted creative and innovative and different projects, and that felt they didn't have enough time in the 2 months to share. I would be happy. We can spend the Christmas break doing this too, because I would like to sit here and adopt something that people can stand by, and that we don't need to go to residents and say that we're deteriorating the municipality, we're impoverishing it, we're favoring development over residents that already live here, because to me this is not the case. And if there is a narrative out there, solutions out there that you have, I'm happy to listen, I'm happy to sit and talk them through. I thought we had done that, so I'm open.
Tu peux voter pour si tu es à l'aise avec ce qui est proposé, malgré le fait qu'il y en a qui s'opposent.
Moi, je suis à l'aise avec ce qui est proposé, mais si la moitié des conseillers ici disent que ce document-là, que ce que le staff a proposé, puis que tous les cadres ont travaillé dessus au cours des derniers mois, a été fait d'une manière qui n'est pas responsable, puis qui va appauvrir la municipalité. Moi, je suis toujours ouverte à entendre d'autres solutions qui n'ont pas été apportées durant les discussions qu'on a eues.
Mais c'est parce qu'encore là, les discussions, il faut que les gens soient là pour être capables de discuter. C'est ça qui arrive.
Okay, yeah.
Ouais.
Okay, I had something planned, but I'm really disappointed, and I'm going to speak from the heart. I've been blindsided. We have been investing as a council and a staff hours and hours and hours, and for people to come out, for my fellow councillors to come out this evening and start saying things that were never said during our meetings is, I find it disappointing and highly insulting. It's really upsetting the amount of time that we spend away from family, friends, the investment that we put in, the personal sacrifice that we put in like this, to come here tonight and to hear information as well that's been somewhat twisted. Monsieur Binette did a fabulous job of explaining what is the difference between a PQE, which, by the way, the last word is I for investment, and we're investing in Chelsea's future in accordance with our strategic plan. Everything in there is for the strategic plan. It's okay not to always agree with everything, but we've always tried, when it comes to the budget and to the PQE, we've always sought consensus. And I'm just so highly disappointed. The I stands for investment in our community. We are catching our breath. We put on a 2-year moratorium, which was also very unpopular, but we did it for the betterment of the community. So as much as people often tell me that I'm not quiet and I never stop talking, I'm at a serious loss. I can't see how we can continue this conversation when we've had many, many opportunities to voice these concerns. And I also encourage the population to learn the difference between a budget and an actual plan quinquennal d'investissement, okay? Because the budget, actually we're involved in budget conversations right now, but I don't know what to say from a trust perspective, because we've been talking about the budget now for a while, so now I'm worried that what's going to happen later on in December when we don't pass it. This is actually insulting to residents because we're at their service and we've wasted time. Anyhow, I will vote in favor because I think that Chelsea, our strategic plan is well represented in there, that it is resident focused and that it respects residents. Thank you.
Merci. Ben, moi, devant le vote, Madame la DG, ben, je vais mettre mon veto. Donc, je suis vraiment désolé pour les employés. Je suis désolé pour l'ensemble de notre communauté, parce que moi, je trouve vraiment qu'on habite dans une communauté qui est fantastique. Nous sommes privilégiés. We are privileged to live here in Chelsea, 15 minutes from the national capital, the real one. There's another one in Quebec, but the real one is national capital in Ottawa. And we are so privileged to be here. We've worked so hard, like Councillor Wilson said, passed so many times away from our loved one and family and friends to work this, and also same with our staff, because when we have those endless meetings at night from 6 o'clock until 10 o'clock at night, our Director General, our team of directors are also away from their family. So after having worked all their work with C'est énormément de travail. Puis là, on arrive ici, on dit qu'il n'y a rien qui est planifié. J'aimerais juste faire un petit cours de politique municipale là, pour certains élus. Donc, le gouvernement du Québec donne les orientations gouvernementales en aménagement du territoire. On appelle les OGAT. Ça commence là. Ensuite, les MRC se doivent de faire un schéma d'aménagement. Donc, nous, on est pris avec un schéma d'aménagement ensuite de la MRC. Puis après ça, on a notre plan d'urbanisme. Puis après ça, on fait tout. Donc, on ne fait pas rien qui est inventé, on ne fait pas rien qui est random. Tout est fait en lien avec les orientations gouvernementales des paliers supérieurs. Le conseil municipal est aussi une créature de la province, donc on se doit d'être capable de respecter les exigences gouvernementales et imposées par la province et aussi imposées par le fédéral. Donc tout ça ici est là. Donc au niveau des usines, oui, il y a des travaux. Toutefois, last year, when we adopted the 3-year plan, investment plan, unanimously, many of those elements that councillors voted unanimously were already included in last year's 3-year plan. But this year we added a few to go to 28 and 29. Mais c'est ça. And the more we push back, well, the more we will pay in the end. Because if we don't adopt this by December 31st, which is mandatory for every municipality to respect, well, if we don't respect that, well, then we'll pay interest rates up to $200,000. And that happened in my first term. And so some councillors wanted to push, and then in the end, we saved nothing because the little tweak that we made, we paid triple that amount in interest rate. Donc, c'est ça. And also, this, by voting the 3-year plan, it meant that as of tomorrow, our staff can also work to go and call for tender. So now, we'll go and call for tender in January, in February, and we'll pay the big price and we'll be at the end of the workload of many contractors. And unfortunately. But, OK. Donc, moi, Madame la DG, je mets mon veto. Puis, c'est ça, parce que là, c'est 3 contre 2.
Il y a un vote aussi.
Il faut que je vous passe le vote, parfait. Donc, je vais demander le vote. Contre? Parfait. Pour? Parfait. Donc, je mets le veto. Merci. Donc, c'est malheureux. Je suis vraiment désolé pour la population et notre équipe municipale que je tiens vraiment à cœur. Mais on va devoir regarder le tout à tête reposée et ramener le dossier à une séance subséquente. Merci. Donc, là, je vais juste rallumer mon ordinateur. Oui, c'est ça. C'est ça, levé de la session. Proposé par Dominique Labrie, appuyé par Kimberly Chan. En faveur? Parfait, à l'unanimité. Merci pour ce vote à l'unanimité. Donc, la séance est levée.